Hello, Miss Joyce. I am so excited to have you. You are an amazing woman on this planet, changing the planet. I am so grateful, and I wanted to share a quick screen about you.
Good to see you, Jill. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes. Now, what I love here is you are my wow factor. And I'm excited to share with all of these viewers, what is that wow factor? How does it happen? And what else I love, when I meet the rinse princess, here you are, girlfriend, and you're going to just share all these tips all about healing from the inside out, which is what I love, which is our vision about that whole person.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quit sharing, and I want you to take over and tell me all about you. So how'd you get into this? Tell me about what got you started? What is your passion?
Yeah, when people ask me, like, how did you choose a path in health and wellness? I honestly believe it chose me. When I look back, it's funny because, I was introduced to you. This is what's so wonderful about us, is that I was introduced to you by the man who assisted me in moving into this career in health and wellness from a career in advertising, David Goldman.
Yes. Another rock star of ours.
A rock star. I was working in the area of advertising. My father is a very well-known commercial still life photographer, David M. Spindell, and he introduced me to David Goldman when I was like in my early 20s. I was representing my dad. I was an agent for my dad's commercial photography work in New York City. And I got introduced to David Goldman and started working with him. He's an incredibly well-known man in the area of advertising, representing some of the most top commercial illustrators and animators.
Well, he is the agent of the illustrator Norm Bendel for our cute little characters we have on the Hip Hop Healthy Heart program for children. So,
Jill, you just never know who and what in your life, how these people are going to influence you. Look at us all these years later. I would have never guessed. You just don't know. So I was working in advertising for the better part of a decade. I was always curious about health and wellness. And actually, my story begins when I was around the age of 14. I watched my father struggle with severe manic depression. I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but struggling with severe manic depression, being a creative person, running his own business. He was the breadwinner of the family. My mom was a full-time homemaker for my brother and I. He was struggling with severe manic depression and went from doctor to doctor to doctor. No one was really dealing with the root cause. He went through over 31 shock therapy treatments. Most people only go through about 7, just to give you a sense of the severity. And what I realized around the age of 14, Jill, was that I made a direct connection between what I ate and how I felt at 14. And not just how I felt physically, but how I felt emotionally and mentally. I realized that on those mornings I would eat fresh grapefruit, I felt like running outside and playing, and I had unlimited energy. On the mornings when I would eat, homemade pancakes and ice cream and maple syrup on top, it tasted amazing. My mom's an amazing cook. Yeah. But afterwards, I felt like I wanted to fall asleep on the couch. And I was like, I feel so loaded. I feel so filmy. I don't really have any get up and go. And that changed the trajectory of my eating habits. I started eating more vegetables. I started eating fresher foods. I still struggled with a lot of my own health issues. I had severe skin issues. I was hospitalized at one point for severe hives. I had this awful rash on the backs of my thighs when I was a teenager. It was so unsightly. It was like a psoriasis type thing. It was embarrassing. It's the time when we're like, we're coming into our own and we're like flirting with boys, passing notes in those days. We didn't have cell phones. We were not texting. And serious issues with my immune system. I struggled with chronic infections when I was a kid. So for all the parents out there who are, dealing with children who have chronic ear, nose, and throat issues, I was on antibiotics all of the time. It undermined my gut health, what we now know as the microbiome. And when I got into my early 20s, it was around the time I had met David Goldman, and I was a vegetarian. I didn't really know a lot about health in terms of education. I was just doing what I thought was right. And then at the age of 23, through, again, someone that David Goldman and I had met, and who's another illustrator who's just like seeking some advice on his portfolio, this guy introduced David and I to this practitioner named Gil Jacobs, who was a colon hydrotherapist. And for those out there who are not familiar, colon hydrotherapy is a washing out of the large intestine, and it assists the body in attaining very high levels of superior cellular health and vitality, and can really do wonders for reversing ailments and disease in the body. Long story longer, I eventually left my career in advertising because having colonics changed the entire vision and trajectory of my life, changed my health. It allowed me to heal all of the issues I was very befuddled by. I was like completely confused by when I got into getting, my colonics. I was still overweight. I was having skin issues. I was still getting sick. I had a herniated disc in my neck. I healed all of those things, Jill, in the absence of surgery, meds, or injections. Because when I started getting those colon hydrotherapy treatments, Gil Jacobs taught me about, you know what, Joyce, it's like your nourishment is almost there. You get the nourishment part. We're going to tweak some things. We're going to help you to start juicing. And he taught me about food combining, which is the entire basis of my 3-pillar process today. And we're going to alleviate all of the matter that's still in your body that the healthier foods are loosening up that are not getting out. So I work with busy parents and professionals and mission-driven entrepreneurs who are struggling in the areas of digestion, energy, sleep, immunity, mental health. And they know that the time they're spending trying to figure out their health issues on their own is wasting a lot of time. And it's starting to affect not only their physical health, but it's starting to affect their mental and their emotional well-being. So I teach them how to nourish, detoxify, and rejuvenate on a very deep cellular level with this cool 3-pillar process that I was working with, which I didn't even realize. And, I became a certified colon hydrotherapist. I did that for a better part of 20 years. I owned and operated 2 very successful wellness studios out of New York City, doing that work, and then running a space out of LA. Now I work mainly with individuals and groups and coaching. I'm not performing clinical work currently, but how I got into health and wellness was it chose me. Like that is like the longer story of why I'm here today, how I got here. Is having that, those colon hydrotherapy treatments, just to kind of like button it up, I should say, it became a non-negotiable for me. Once I started getting colonics and learned about food combining and juicing, my whole world changed. I'm going to be 51 in June, and I feel like and look like I teach my clients how to age in reverse, because that's how I feel like I live my life. And it became an obligation. I felt like it was an obligation for me to teach this work to other people. Because if I could heal my body so quickly that way, then I wanted to help other people so they wouldn't have to suffer like my dad did and I did.
So are you working with children as well?
Yes. So when I say I work with busy parents and professionals, I should say busy parents, professionals, and families, because, the kids benefit when the parents are healthier and vibrant, and then the parents pass that on to their children.
No, absolutely.
And, this reminds me of one of my clients. I tell this story all the time about my client, Julia, back in New York, who came to me struggling with being 70 pounds overweight, Synthroid medication for thyroid issues, depression because the medications were depressing her and were having all these unwanted side effects.
Sure.
Jill, she didn't come to me just because she wanted to get healthy for herself. Julia came to me because she wanted to have another baby.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did she lose the 70 pounds, get off the Synthroid, and reverse the depression, and go on to get pregnant. She got pregnant with twins.
I don't know, the good, bad, and good.
And to this day, I still get photos from her of these young, vibrant children putting romaine lettuce in their mouth as they're watching a movie on TV, eating healthy foods and sending me these cute little lists. What are your favorite foods? And romaine lettuce is like one of the top 3.
That's great. And I always say kids don't know any different. If the parents do it, that's how they're going to be raised. My children know no different. Yeah. And then they take it on to the next generation, and that's what we want. So I love it. I love everything you're doing. Are you going to give us a peek into those 3 pillars?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's true. Kids they seek to emulate the adults all the time, right? You think of like kids that are like 6, 7, 8, they want to do what the teenagers are doing. When we're
Sure.
teenagers, we kind of want to do what the young adults are doing. I've experienced that as well. So my 3-pillar process is called Nourish, Detoxify, and Rejuvenate. And a very quick glimpse, just for the sake of time. The nourishment component is mainly something that I teach my clients all about in terms of it's not just what you eat, it's how you eat it that makes the biggest difference, right? I know when I first got into getting colon hydrotherapy treatments, I was eating all the soy foods, the soy stuff that looked and tasted like chicken or like bacon or like cheese and all that stuff. And it was really, you know, in creating a lot of inflammatory response in my system. It was creating all these skin issues. It was, you know, it's the reason why I was getting sick every winter. I haven't been on an over-the-counter drug in probably 25 years. So the Nourish pillar is all about food combining, the proper order of foods, and juicing. And, you know, a lot of people don't know what food combining is. Some might, if you're listening, you do, awesome. But if you're listening and you're curious, food combining is a very simple approach to helping you learn how to properly pair your foods to improve your digestive response, improve your bowel function, your eliminations, improve your skin, your sleep, your digestion, your mental health, because your gut and your brain are completely connected. They're not mutually exclusive.
Right.
And then we go into the detoxification pillar, and that's really important because if we're not focusing on what's getting out of our body, we're missing the whole point, right? It's kind of like putting your clothes into the washing machine. I love this metaphor. People always say this really gave them the ability to understand this work more. You know, when you put your clothes in the washing machine, there's the cycle where you have all the soap sudsing up your clothes to loosen up the grime from the threads. And then there's a rinse cycle after that. No one pulls their clothes out of the machine when they're full of suds. No one walks outside with a head full of, shampoo suds.
Right.
We rinse that off. But for a lot of people, the elimination process, the rinse cycle, hence the rinse princess, by the way, that's missing from a lot of people's protocol. And so they're feeling like, hey, I'm eating good, but why don't I feel as good as I should? Because what they've loosened up has not left the body. So that's where we bring in those concepts of enemas and colonics and dry brushing and rebounding on a trampoline. I know with the kids, we're always trying to get them to be more active. I love my jump sport trampoline, and I became an affiliate with them for that reason, because I just think it's like everyone needs to have a jump sport trampoline in their house as much as they need to have a juicer. And then lymphatic dry brushing. There's all simple things you can start doing. And then the third pillar is to rejuvenate. We really have to rejuvenate those cells now that we've gotten all that waste matter out of the way. And that's where things like these wonderful essential oils come into play. And the reason why we love the essential oils, especially the parents, is because kids love them. They're so easy to integrate into any family's healthcare right in your own home. And you can have a neural response in literally 22 seconds. So, using oils as a form of preventative healthcare, but also having them on hand when something unexpected comes up for things like bruises and digestive upset when kids, go to parties and they're eating things that don't agree with them.
Right. I love it all. So you know that I started the first exercise program on mini trampolines way back in the 80s. And I am that's when I first saw you and met you, and I thought, she's on a trampoline, she's got to be great. Because to me, I use mine every day. And when my dad was actually living with me, and he became wheel bound at the end, I put his feet on the trampoline and I jump him every day. And I used to work at a hospital that helped with stroke patients and all kinds of different people that would balance and circulation and how does this work. So it was just so dear to my heart when you said that. I think every family needs to put that in front of their TV because that's what they watch.
Yes. And
I've had people just lose tons of weight, not because that's why you use it, it's the health of it, but that's a side benefit.
Right, absolutely.
And
my
so,
mom was 81 in February, turned 81 in February. She's got one.
Right. And it just helps every cell in your body. And it's just remarkable. And that was the one way that I could actually jump rope, because it took 3 times your body weight off. So I didn't get the pounding on my feet, but I got the aerobics and what I needed with my rope. And so very fun. So I'm so for that. And I love your three pillars. That's awesome. And it's all three of them that work. And it is cleansing from the inside out. And what is, when you talk juicing, just tell me more. Do you have a favorite juice, so to speak, or is it variety, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yes, the juice for me is oxygen. I've been juicing, 50, I'm 50 now, so 50 minus whatever 23 is. What is that? 30, 27 years, something like that. Juicing to me is such a huge missing link for people if they're looking to really increase their vitality. And if they really want to support their kids with healthier food cravings, this is one of the easiest things to do. Really integrating some healthy, fresh pressed juices. It helps the cells to regenerate. It helps the kids to have better bowel movements. If your kids are having some excess weight issues, they'll start to drop some weight. They feel good. They look good, especially teens. Teens get a lot of bullying if their skin is not looking good, if they're dealing with acne. This is one of the easiest ways to offset that. People don't think acne is a big deal. They're like, it's not life-threatening. But let me tell you, the emotional detriment that kids go through with bullying because kids are making fun of them because their skin is not looking good is very damaging in the long term. And so we really want to do whatever we can to support these kids at the youngest of ages. My favorite juice is a very simple recipe. People typically laugh and they go, wait, really, what? I love romaine lettuce. You're going to see it all over my Instagram and my social media. I love my romaine lettuce and my big salads. That's the simplest recipe. I just love it. It's super clean. It's full of chlorophyll. It's got great water content. It's very light on the palate. But it took me a while to get to eat, to drink something so clean and simple like that. So if you're just starting out with juicing, I would recommend maybe half romaine lettuce and half carrot. The reason I recommend that recipe for other people is because it's a little bit more sweet and it actually tastes like mild chocolate milk. So for the kids, right, they'll drink it a lot quicker.
So my question is for juicing, it's the rage right now with the celery, first thing in the morning, Anthony Williams.
Yeah.
I personally love it. I mean, that's how I start my day before I hike or pickleball or anything I do. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, people pick a thing, right? But, there's no magic wonder going on with celery juice specifically that's any different than any other juice. The best juice recipe in the world is the one you make every day. Okay?
I totally
the best juice you make is the one you make every day. And it's the one that you enjoy. Getting healthy, staying healthy, elevating your health if you're already into a lot of this. The best, recipe for success is consistency. There's no magic bullet per se. It's repetition, wash, rinse, repeat, as the rinse princess likes to say, because that is what really yields the best results with anything. Playing the violin, if your kids are playing a sport, it's like helping them practice and hone their chops in between the games or the performances, right? So these are the metaphors that I like to bring in. If you like celery juice, awesome. It's certainly better than bacon and eggs. It's certainly better than commercial grade cereal and milk. It's even better than a healthy, health food store cereal and oat milk, because it's clean, vibrant, and full of nutrients, chlorophyll, enzymes, and minerals. And it's raw and it's easily absorbed. Okay. So even if your kids are eating the health food cereal and some oat milk or almond milk, get them having that juice first, waiting 30 minutes, and then eating that other thing. Or maybe toasted whole grain bread with some avocado is a better option, right?
That's I make my own homemade bread and avocado every day with tomatoes, and I'm just like, okay, and juice first and then juice later for an 4 o'clock pick me up, because you are so true. When you need a pick me up, your body's telling you something. So go to those fresh foods that are going to bring you back. So Have you do juice fast? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been intermittent fasting for 25 years, not knowing that it was even called intermittent fasting when I first started. For me, it was a natural segue. So I eat one meal a day, and I've been doing that since I'm 26, but it wasn't because I got up one morning and I said, oh, I want to eat one meal a day. What happened for me, Jill, was the cleaner my cells got as I kept bringing in the healthier foods and sort of crowding out the things that weren't really working for me. and getting a lot of these colonics to really carry out the waste, what happened for me was I had less inclination to eat so frequently throughout the day because all of my energy was coming from the cleaner cells I had. Oxygen flow is your best source of energy. The foods you eat can, quote unquote, give you energy if you're eating clean foods. But the truth of the matter is, if we go down to the science and we go down to an author by the name of Professor Arnold Ehret, who's like one of the godfathers of cleansing and fasting,
Okay.
he has a formula that is vitality equals pressure minus obstruction. So the less pressure, or it's power minus obstruction, the less obstruction in your body, the more power we have as humans. When you have more obstruction in the body, the power goes down, right? The vitality will always go up when we have less obstruction in the way. So the less obstruction I had, the power went way up, the vitality went way up. And so when I say I've been intermittent fasting for that long, I truly believe in the art of fasting. I've done 2-week juice fasts. I've done 7-day juice fasts. I've worked with clients doing numbers of different types of juice fasts, trying to, work against certain life-threatening diseases. And the reason why fasting works so well is if it's done properly with proper segue and in tandem with proper tissue cleansing, AKA enemas and colonics. The reason why a lot of people fail when they're juice fasting is because they just bring in all of these juices, which can loosen up lots of old poisons, dormant cellular toxic waste. They start loosening that up and it goes into the bloodstream. They feel awful. It doesn't get out reasonably in a reasonable amount of time. And then they are like, oh, when we don't feel well, we go in the opposite direction of something that we think created the source or the problem.
Right.
So they will give it up. But I can't tell you how many of my clients were doing juice fasts. When I was working in New York and had my clinical practice and in LA, they would come in on a fast and be like, oh God, I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. Or I feel so nauseous. Or I have a headache. 20 minutes into the colonic, they're a completely different person. There's more energy, the headache dissipates, whatever it may be. So again, loosen waste, remove waste, loosen waste, remove waste. That is the formula. It's very important that we focus on getting the stuff out of the body as much as we're focusing on what we're eating to loosen it up. So I truly believe in the art of fasting, but it has to be done with a skilled individual who can guide you along the way so you don't abort the ship.
I'm glad you said that, because that's so important. I'm a homeopathic practitioner, and I tell people, yeah, you can do homeopathy for acute care and read up on it, but get the professional that's going to help you so that you don't have these step backs and say, oh, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because it does work.
Yeah, you want to know how to navigate like the unexpected.
Exactly.
Work with a coach who's going to guide you along that process. So
absolutely. So what is new that's on your horizon that we need to know about?
Well, I have this really awesome 30-day VIP detox intensive that is typically a one-on-one experience for 30 days where people learn about the 3-pillar process in more, with more particular detail. And then they have me with unlimited text and 2 coaching calls in that 30-day period. And it's really a launching pad for them. But what's new for me is I'm taking that experience and I'm turning it into an online course. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be life-changing, entertaining, and engaging. And of course, educational. And I'm really excited about the content for that and how I'm creating it. It's going to have movement, dance, song, so that people feel really excited about the next module, and then the next one. But I have something that I planned that's a little different for the audience here.
Okay.
As a gift. I don't know if we're at that point yet.
I jump in at that point, and we'll come back if we want more of it, but go for it.
Yeah, so I put together this awesome gift. I guess maybe should we talk about oils first? Maybe we should talk about
that'd be great. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that, please.
Okay. So a lot of times when people are coming to me for support with their digestion, sleep, energy, or skin issues, the changes they can experience when they start juicing and food combining and maybe doing some enemas at home is awesome. Look, people who live in the islands in Haiti, enemas were a thing as much as eating breakfast was a thing. Like, I know a lot of people watching this right now might be like, oh, enemas, that's a little weird. But I can't tell you how many clients I've had over the years who told me, oh yeah, my grandmother, if I didn't feel well in the morning, enema, and off to school I went, right? So essential oils came into my trajectory, into my sphere of influence in 2015. I had not been working with them at all. I just kind of knew about them. I thought they were a pretty scent, but I took this course and boy, was it eye-opening. I understood that essential oils were our first form of healthcare. They've been used for thousands of years in India, China, and Egypt. And they're powerful. And I gave some samples. I sent some samples to a woman in her early 20s in 2016, I think it was actually. She had severe eczema from fingertip to shoulder on both arms and on thighs. And she was on medication since she was 2 years old. And they wanted to increase her medication and she didn't want to have it. She's like, I need to figure this out. I had sent her samples. We were doing a training through Zoom, and she used a sample of the oils on her arm with some coconut oil to dilute. And in 20 minutes, she held up her arm to the screen and she said, oh my God, look. And her arm at the beginning of the session was red and inflamed. 20 minutes in, it was pink. It was like a completely different experience. I had never seen anything like this change so quickly. I mean, I was new to oils. So in that moment, I realized I had another obligation in front of me, which was to teach people these natural forms of healthcare that they could use in the privacy of their own homes. The reason parents love them and the reason kids love them is for 3 reasons. They're safe, they're effective, and they are completely affordable. They're like pennies per drop. You don't build up resistance to them. They have no side effects. And kids of all ages can use them. I train my parents how to use them with their kids with proper dilution, whether they're, 1 month old or, 15 years old or whatever. And then, we have people I have clients that are in their 80s. So they're wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful because it's the root cause.
Online?
Say again?
Do you teach this class online?
Yes. So for parents who are curious to learn how to use them, I've got this awesome gift, right? The oils I work with are very unique. They're not oils that you could just go into a health food store and get. They're medical grade. I only work with this particular grade because of their purity and their potency, and they're used in hospitals, and integrative pediatricians work with them as well. They're the most tested and they're the most trusted essential oils. And so for those of you who might be listening and are curious to learn more about essential oils as a natural form of healthcare, and you'd maybe even like to get started, there's 2 ways to work with me. The first way is to work with me privately, and you can send me an email, detox@joycerockwood.com, and we get acquainted. I offer a no-cost call to hear what's going on with you. And then the other way to work with me is through a webinar training. And so what I've done for those who are making time today to learn more about natural forms of healthcare for themselves and for their kiddos to really make a difference in the world. Because look, when we feel better as adults, we can definitely pour into the cup of the littles a lot easier. So I have a free gift where we're going to learn more about essential oils for improving family health. And I think these are parents have to have these on hand. I truly believe it. So parents' healthy must-haves, natural tools for physical and emotional vibrancy. I'm going to teach you how to use essential oils and the 3 cool things about them. I mean, the cool thing about essential oils is anyone can use them. You can use them aromatically, you can use them topically on your skin, and you can use some of the oils that I work with even internally, which is really powerful. So Tuesday, May 25, there's a link below that you can click, and I'm going to do a training at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and I'm going to show you how easy oils are to work with, some cool scientific facts behind them and how they work with the brain, because your brain is exposed to the outside environment, right? So if kids need to focus more on homework and things like that, I know we're coming into the summer, but hey, maybe we want to prepare for the new school year. Just having things for cuts and scrapes. We don't want to use petroleum on the kids' skin. We want to use things that are going to help them with stomach upset as things start to open. They might start to go to more birthday parties, helping them have better sleep. Kids have better sleep, you have better sleep. Everyone's happier. Everyone wakes up with more energy. Without good sleep, we have hormone imbalance, weight gain, all the things. So my goal is to teach you how to become a healer in your own home, which is why I'm offering this free training.
I'm in. I'll be there. I think that's so exciting. What an amazing gift. You know, it is so true about oils. I've heard about them a lot. I'm, you know, aware of them, but what to do and that uncertainty, you don't do anything. You know, and it's much better to be educated by someone like yourself. And I think that's an amazing gift to the audience. Again, that's May 25th, and that's going to be at noon Pacific time. And they can find out about more about that on your website.
I think we're sharing the link below the interview, or maybe in the email that goes out for this. They should have gotten that. Okay. So yeah, it's not a public offering. It's exclusive for your community. Yeah.
It's also Shape Up Summit. They can go to and read all about you and your bio, and then also get the link there. So I just want to make sure they find it every which way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's oils for kids, oils for adults. We love it. I mean, they've even got this cool like kids collection of oils, which is so cute. Look how they designed this with these little carabiners they can attach to their knapsack or their little loop on their belt buckle. You know, this is the digestive blend. I mean, it's just so cute. We really want to educate the kids on healthcare from a young age so they know how to take care of themselves and so they can feel more empowered. This is all about empowering those kiddos. We didn't have access to so much information like this when we were younger.
Absolutely. So we're just close to the end, but I want to ask for any final tips that I didn't ask you or that you want to share as a last minute aha moment for our audience and everyone out there.
Yeah, you know, I believe you can heal your body naturally from the inside out. And I also believe that the two most overlooked and most powerful aspects of creating lifelong vitality are gut health in tandem with proper nutrition. And so teaching you and your kids how to properly nourish, detoxify, and rejuvenate your bodies naturally from the inside out is what I do. Helping you to experience a life of freedom where you get to make the biggest difference in the lives of those you love is who I am. And I'm so excited to connect with you further in this oils training.
I love it. It was absolutely perfect. Everything we need to know, want to know. And I can't wait to learn more and answer some of the questions that everyone has out there for you to answer. So God bless you, my friend. It was perfect synergies, I say, and serendipity moments. And grateful for you and your knowledge and education and awareness to all of us.
My pleasure. Always a joy.
Yes. Love you lots.
Be well, everyone.
Back at you.